Alright, let's get rolling. I suppose I should be more enthusiastic. Let's get rolling, let's get fixing, and let's make this MacBook work again. Come on, MacBook, you can do it. Come on, MacBook, yes you can. This is no reflection on the owner of this MacBook. It's just been a fun day. Yes, such a fun day. Hello, Bunty. Miles, John, Jim. Alrighty, let's get into this one. So this one's got crackling speakers, which is pretty normal for these machines. That's not a big problem. That's what we got these for. But the bigger problem is the blanking screen, which hopefully we have a 3332 machine here. And if we have a 3332 machine, then there is some hope for hope. Hey Toby and ITC. We had the first half of our solar installation done today. Started at 8:30 in the morning, which those of you who know me will realise that's a very unholy hour for me to be up and about, trying to be an adult, let alone anything else. And it was a bit of a tricky process. The panels are up, but it seems that we're going to we still have to go through another day sometime in the future where the mains box has to be updated. But to make things more fun, the wire that goes from the house up to the street pole needs to be upgraded. It's not sufficiently thick. Hey, blazing full wave. And so as a consequence of that, that's another, I think about, well, they couldn't give me an exact price because the people doing the install today are the solar installers. They're not, we do have a 3332 by the way, they're not the power pole people. So they estimated around about $1,500, which is not too bad, but at the same time it's not nothing either. And then this evening I finally received a quote for, this is actually a very nice clean machine by the way, very immaculately done. It looks like it's got a replacement battery in it, so I'd say what's happened is it's been cleaned out, but even still it's in very good condition, so thumbs up for that. Anyway, so yeah, we've also been wanting to get the rooms tiled after we had our 6-month wait on the tiles from Italy and stuff like that. And it turns out we got the quote today, and for 2 rooms with painting, skirting and a couple of other things was 9,000 Australian dollars about. And I pretty much fell off my chair off that, because the entire back room enclosure that we just did, by the same builder no less, was about 11,500. And you know, for a complete build, closing in and tiling, painting, yeah, we thought that was pretty good. That's fine. But 9,000 for tiling 2 rooms, it was, and we're supplying the tiles, you know, it's not added into the cost. It kind of left me a little bit short on breath. I mean, we're going to have to do it, and I genuinely do not want to risk it with another builder. Yeah, overhead cable, yeah. Hey, Catherine. Yeah, we're going to have to go ahead with it, but the trouble is that I'm thinking I really need to reserve my stash of money for the moment, because we do have other things that we need to pursue at this point, certain matters. So what we might do is see if we can get the builder to just do the tiling, basically do everything except the painting, because the paint is subcontracted out. And maybe if we can get that down closer to what we can just cough up, it might work out. Anyway, so there, you get some good days and you get a lot of bad ones when it comes to renovating homes. Hey Killu, I'm working on a Vicky VC1845 video for modification. Just backlight on by default. Fix the buzzer that became yeah. I do not still have that multimeter. I have given it to someone else. So yeah, sorry about that. I'm actually looking at getting the second edition one, which is a proper USB one, not the serial port one. So I may see how that goes. Yes, whoops, wow, that came out really loud. I apologize. The Ukraine situation is being used as the justification for a lot of price jumps. And yeah, there is some legitimacy to it, but there's also a lot of opportunism going on. And I guess, yeah, that's capitalism for you, that's business. And you're either going to be on the lead of that wave or you're going to be the one left behind. Renovations take time and nerves, that's to say the very least. Yeah. Hey 3X, and g'day Flatlander. Managed to take apart my AM scope microscope, successfully clean all the lenses and mirrors and back together. Oh, that's some, that's very good. It can be very easy for that to go wrong. And you end up with this murky outcome. That's about the only way to describe it. Very unpleasant, murky outcome, and then you got to strip it all down and do it all again and find out what you did wrong. So it's good that you got it back together and it looks better. Okay. Getting this camera connector disconnected without wrecking those Wi-Fi coaxial cables is a bit of an art in itself. Hey Keith McDermott. I've also been having a hell of a time trying to fix up a couple of jobs that were sent to me for data recovery. One of them requires a A1398 trackpad just for the sake of testing. And the only one I can find in Australia from a place I will trust is $250 just for a trackpad. And the terrible thing is I don't even know if it's going to be the trackpad. It might be the trackpad cable. So yeah, and I'm like, man, when does the bleeding of the budget stop? I know I shouldn't complain. I should be happy I've got those jobs, and I am happy I've got those jobs. But at the same time, you also can't be too flippant. Flippant's the right word? With your money. You know, just because you do have money on hand, reserve, whatever, in savings, so that you can buy things like a $250 trackpad if you have to, doesn't mean you should still do so just blindly. You should think about it. It's like, is there another way I can work this out? Is there a compatible trackpad that I can use in terms of electrically compatible but maybe not physically compatible, that I can just use to test things? Like, you can get the 2189, I think, trackpads. I think they're 2189, and they're only like $55. But there's no guarantee that's actually going to work, and there's no guarantee it's not going to destroy something. Just like I'm sitting here wondering, what have I missed? Why is that sticking? That's disconnected, that's disconnected. I feel like I've missed something here. You know, sometimes you just don't want to rip out a mainboard because you don't know what you're going to snap. Hey creature. What the hell is holding you back? Nothing at all, except just a bit of friction. Interference fit, rather. Hey, Olson. It's all good. Can't all be on time. YouTube itself doesn't really help in that matter. Hey, Niroba. I've also been feeling a little bit down over some pretty shit remarks that got sent my way last week. And initially I was sort of taken aback, and I thought, what? Maybe I've been a bit bad here. Maybe I dropped the ball somewhere and all that. But then I was thinking back, and I'm thinking, you know what? Half a dozen other times that the ball was thrown at me, I didn't drop it, and then this once, when I didn't actually even drop it, just someone didn't see me catch it, I got a blimmin' virtual remount, and I was like, right. Yeah, it's kind of sad. I do wish people would double check things first before going for the reaming. And yeah, you got to have these things, come off your back like water on a duck. But at the same time, it does affect you, and particularly a person like myself, where I do try to go to great lengths to not drop too many things, and then when someone says, you've dropped it, I sort of try and reflect back on myself and go, okay, did I do that wrong? What's going on? And use up a considerable amount of energy and time processing that. And then as I was going to sleep that night, I reflected back on some other things, and I thought, you know what? That's a load of crap. Actually, yeah. Anyway, so then I got mad about it because of the fact that I'd used up so much energy on that. Don't let people get to you. Well, you see, the thing is, it's like, at the same time, you have people that are friendly and they contribute and all that sort of stuff. And then and you sort of put these people and you go, you know what, okay. You give those people a certain degree of your time and mind space. And then when those sort of people do tell you something, you give it a bit of weight. You think about it, because that's why. Like if Lewis had said something to me, I would sort of, if I knew he wasn't joking about it, because given that 99% of the time that's what he does, I'd give it serious consideration and sort of go, have I missed something here? Yes, Jim. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, Marcia. Welcome. Patrick. Hey, Tradie Trev. I just realised you said that comment earlier, but... Okay, I'm not reflowing this. I'm just heating it up. Just trying to get some heat into the board. This is U8900, by the way. This is a 3332 board. It's the Apple shoe rubber fix type thing, though it hasn't been done on this one. But essentially, the joins on this particular regulator, they seem to have cracking issues, or it's not quite done well enough. So we're going to replace or redo them with some leaded solder. Just soaring away. I say you don't want to run around being completely oblivious to your behaviour. So when someone you normally take heed from calls you out on something, you do wonder. You go, well, did I miss that? What happened there? But at the same time, when people call you out on that stuff, then it better be for a good reason. I'm having trouble. I've run out of heat here, so I'll just do it all. Yeah, I'm gonna need more heat here. Hey, Michael. Yeah, we've got a bridge down here, but that's fine. That gets cleared up once the heat comes in, and it just makes it easy, man, for the micro pencil to do its job right. Generally don't want to try and reflow this chip too much because it is in fairly close proximity to the GPU itself. Alright, so that's probably going to explain the blanking. It's fairly symptomatic. Sorry, it's a signature sort of symptom of this board. Shame, I'm going to have to ultrasonic this, but it's in such good condition. We'll go over the rest of it. Hey Ed, we'll go over the rest of it. That's not a crack, that is a scratch. I can see something continued on over to there. Okay, stop. Sorry Jim, not going to be using that photo yet tonight because I have already done micros injection. There's a little smidge of trash there. It kind of looked metallic, but I think it's just a bug wing, crystalline bug wing. Because the other possibility, it could be that the lid sensor was misbehaving and blanking the screen, but not in this instance. So we're just going over the board. Even though it's a good looking board, and it really is, like I said, it's in excellent condition. I'm going to be sad to ultrasonic this. Yeah, I can easily find one extra little dot of corrosion somewhere which may be manipulating things. And you got to check for these things. Like there was a job I did recently and I found multiple faults that all produced the same kind of symptom. And so you'd fix, it was a VREG failure and then a resistor failure for an enable, and yeah, it was just everything would produce the same sort of symptoms and it was all stacked on top of each other. So you'd fix one, but then there'd still be two more layers of similar symptoms to remove. So this is a 2.68 gig. Now the only downside with this particular fault is proving that it hasn't come back. The only thing you can really do is to just put it through a bunch of cycles. So yeah, I have a Vivo book to repair. No prior repair attempt, they said, but I'm missing a transistor, probably two resistors and a cap. And you have a good board view for X51, X512DK. Have you tried board bad caps? Bad caps is the best place. Hey Wong Wei, not FlexGate on this particular model. This is a U8900 failure, or at least it should be. I'm hoping it will be. But yeah, I'm just going to try and pick up as much of the flux I can. Do you get bored with that clean of a board? Clean boards actually terrify me more than anything else. Particularly if it is not a signature fault, then yeah, clean boards are scary. Because it means it's not going to be a janitor type fix. It means I'm going to have to put on the brain cap and actually burn some sugars in my brain cells in order to be able to ascertain what's going wrong. And that's painful. I do not use flux like Lewis does. Lewis uses flux like the US uses oil. I have a couple of old 1286 boards, both only start in SMC bypass mode. Oh, could be a squillion reasons for that. And also depends on, the boards are in pristine condition. It could be a dead SMC. You could try a call on, what is it, Occam's razor. And if it's only working in SMC bypass, then maybe the SMC is no good. All S5 rows present. What's your PP bus voltage? Do you get 1256 or do you get 1220 something? I buy my flux directly from Amtech in the US of A. And that way I know that I'm actually getting legitimate product. 1286, okay. So, yeah, see, that's where it gets complicated. Because sometimes you can still have a dud SMC, but it's managing to signal okay to the ISL. Ah, man. These things are stuck down sometimes. Oh yeah, you can see why this was rattling, but this is very typical of. Yeah, Travis, I do say US of A. I don't say USA much. Right, notice something missing here. See, we've got a little bit of a baffle, suspension thingy here. And the rest of it's gone. There's nothing else. So that's why that rattles. The tweeter is okay, but the big woofer is not. Can't really call it a woofer, it's a mid-range. Actually, honestly, on these, they're all tweeters. Tweeters and extreme tweeters. Yeah, I saw that Coda had some interesting videos the last couple of days. Yeah, so that's how it should look. So. Okay, I don't know if these are refurbished originals or what. All I know is that they do the job. And I'm happy for that. Well, strangely enough, you do have to usually still coax them into position. Get that plastic bending a little. And then slip it in under there. Yeah, there we go. Yep, naturally it just pops back out. Alright, so we have to do pretty much the same on this side. 3 screws out. Each of the screws are different. You've got a short flat, you've got a short threaded long shaft, and then you've got a standard threaded long shaft. Right, that one came out a bit easier. Same story here. Baffle's completely missing. So I do wonder if you can actually send those off somewhere and someone will refurbish them, or whether they're just, it looks like they're just cast in. So probably no real option of refurbish. So much blue text. Yeah, being a mod really isn't much of a status around here. In fact, you're probably gonna get more respect if you're not a mod. It means you're probably not a basement dweller. Okay, just want to make sure that that flux does not get on to the nice, what do you call it? The nice backlight cover of the keyboard. I take certain degree of offense to such contaminations. And as usual, the 1398 has been a right little SOB with the installation process. Get the keyboard up. You got to notch it in just right down here. Make sure these little tangs are actually below. And then, okay, I think we're not as bad as the 1700 board, but it certainly still has its charm, as it were. And of course, yeah, this one's not behaving properly because it's newly installed, so I think, why don't we just float that. Then we've got to get the keyboard backlight over here, and then we've got to make sure that doesn't get snared. And then we go back to this one because it's decided to get consumed again. There we go. Lift your head up and be proud. And then after all that, you realise you've trapped the backlight again. There we go. Oh, finally you realise that the battery is snared on the corner. And so you got to take it all out again. Something just doesn't feel right about the way it's sitting in. Like I said, it was awkward, more awkward than I would expect to get it out. And it's certainly playing that game getting back in. Sometimes these are just, aha! Take that, board. So, what's your problem, bro? I was trying to help you the whole time and you were just being difficult. Anyway, we're just testing that the speakers and the screen work, so it isn't actually required that I make this perfect. I will say the downside of these replacement speakers is that the connectors aren't really as good a quality as the original Apples. You don't get that satisfying click as they go in, it's more of a mush. They make contact, but the level of confidence is a little less than inspiring. Okay, we're not going to bother with the daughter board at this point. It's not necessary for the task at hand. Okay, we'll get our boot stick. Plug the battery in. Fans maybe should be required, but they are not. There's enough thermal capacity in this board to cope with booting for a little while, and that sounded a bit better. Americo, Lego Man. That's a little bit not so crash hot. That's definitely not what we wanted. Of course not. We'll give it a few more seconds. Do a backlight. Yeah, we've got backlight. Well, as far as I know, the customers tested the screen elsewhere. Let's see. Speaker started to become distorted. Screen went blank a week later. Recharges, turns on. Caps lock work, but no screen. Tried external monitor. Oh, yeah. Okay, no. Yeah, tried external monitor, but nothing came up. Suspect video on the mainboard. So this might not actually. This may be something a little more than U8900. She's drawing 4 amps, so she's doing a full battery charge. No display at all. That's I'd say most of that is battery charge, I think. Famous last words. Okay, I suspect they would have used HDMI port on the daughter card, so I'm going to use display Thunderbolt and see if I get anything out of that. And I have a horrible feeling I'm not going to. I have a horrible feeling this GPU has toasted itself. Question is how or why? No, we got nothing coming out of Thunderbolt either. Alright, what I'll do is another test. Just disconnect the battery. But yeah, that's not crash hot. We'll also disconnect the display just to force it to have to go to Thunderbolt. Sometimes they might not necessarily switch over. I mean, it should, but should and does isn't always the same thing. Just like I should have a fingernail to flip this latch up, but I do not. Ouch. Hey Jason, welcome. Good to see you. Ach, niemand. Das ist bei Cut. Okay. Okay, that's disconnected. We're going in through Thunderbolt. Okay, let's see how we go. Does the chipmunk blink? I do not know. Okay, we do have activation of the screen here. So we are actually getting a signal now. It could be a bad screen cable. Let's see if we get a folder. If we get a folder, then it might just be a bad screen cable. Hey Harold, by the way, Harold, I did get your package and they almost lost it, by the way. I'll try and not show your stuff. But yeah, it was hanging out like that when it arrived, and this was still sort of closed up. But yeah, the guts almost fell out. But I did get it. You're sort of forcing me to have a long queue here before I can get around to testing your stuff. But Harold from CMI Zapper Chipmunk Master has sent me a new MagSafe tester. I have to get around to checking that out. Alright, this is interesting. So we actually do have an initialized screen, but we're not getting any data out on it. So it recognizes the screens there. It's sending the signal as in what screen spec and all that at once, but it's not doing any else. Yeah. Let's find out where my chipmunk's gone. It's a bit... Reflow GPU buck. Hey Kevin S. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what's going on here. I don't know whether it's stalling or... Well, I guess I'll power off. It immediately reacts to the power on, power off, so it certainly has some sort of brain activity. I'm going to put a chipmunk in and see if the chipmunk chatters. Current draw's gone down, probably went into idle or sleep. Okay, chipmunk up. Chipmunk's blinking. Yep, that's pretty normal. So this is the sort of thing, but the trouble is we would normally expect to see a folder come up after a minute or two. And the chipmunk's still blinking. .4. Yeah, actually that is a little odd that it went to 4 amps, wasn't it? Oh, that's because I've disconnected the battery, that's why. Explains that. But yeah, around about now we should be seeing... Well, we should just... I'm going to plug this stick in, see what happens. Give it a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. We should almost immediately come up with an Apple logo. Okay, being a 3332, I can plug in the MRI stick and see what happens. And the fact that I actually get data, the blinking of the USB activity, I know it's querying it. Yeah, it's not generating... It should be showing me a list of drives I can pick from. Alright. Okay. Let's take that board out. This has turned into just another piece of today's totally crap schedule. Lovely. Okay, look, I'll be honest. Today wasn't total crap. It was actually pretty good. Ow. Okay, I recant that statement. Yeah, things could have gone substantially worse, but at the same token, they also could have gone better. So, what have we got? What could be... It's not holding up the CPU, because we're getting the constant blinking from the chipmunk. So we know it's not the CPU holding it up. And we know, well, you know, like I said, it could just be the GPU actually finally did give up. Well, this has both Intel and external. So like this is the GPU here, and obviously the Intel one there. I wonder if the mux is buggered. Try GPU bypass. Yeah, could do that. Cracked PCH. Let's not go that way. No. PCH is dandy fine. Kind of feel the D speaker, another fault. The what speaker? And I didn't eat that resistor, so yeah. When you do these jobs, every now and then you accidentally eat this resistor, and it gives you a bit of a weird behavior. Doing a very good job, good ignoring job. I'm not ignoring anything, Travis. I'm just silently taking account of what's going on. Just going to see if I've botched up something else that's entirely plausible. Oh, right, now the distorted speaker was because the speaker was destroyed, and that's exceptionally common on this model. A1302s are all suffering it as well, so yeah, there's nothing unusual about that. Unfortunately, I would love for it to be related, but it's not. Hey, GD Turk. So the one possibility is maybe this is dead, but I doubt it. All the connections look good. Well, I could replace it and see if that makes anything better, but I have my sincere doubts. Just checking the screen input. So this basically has turned into this has now turned into a rabbit hole. This is a 3332. Yeah. I mean, look at this. Everything is just clean. It's all clean. It's the board from hell. I can only imagine it's GPU related, since we're not getting anything. Or, you know, it could be iGPU, the internal Intel. I'm pretty sure the Intel one is the one that should show up for the boot. You know, when you hold down the option key and things like that, you should it should be driven by the Intel GPU, not the external GPU. So that's actually more of an issue. Well, we've disconnected the LCD and it still happens. Yes, I've already done U8900. And usually with U8900, even if that's faulty, you can at least bring up things like the what do you call it, the display for what boot option you want. Let's see, what's the mux chip on this one? Time to bring out the board view and schematic and to pretend to be intelligent. It's probably going to be easier for me to just give this person a completely new 3332. U9150. Let's see if Dr. Mars' logic is actually correct. U9150. Ah, yeah, that's the same mux as the new ones that they have, I think. Why do I feel stupid here? Is my board upside down? Ah, there it is. Okay. Leon, that's no good. I don't want to hear that. Pretty sure HDMI and GPU ports connected to the DGPU directly. Only the LCD is muxed. That would make sense because, yeah, when you kill the external GPU or the dedicated GPU, that's when you lose your external ports. But I am wondering if perhaps the mux might be... No, I don't know. Look, I really don't know. So there's our mux there. I suppose the question in my mind is, if I take U8900 off, will that at least let me see if the internal GPU is running? The mux might be. Well, let's give it a whirl, shall we? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It keeps not working? Oh, fantastic, mate. I just lost a screw. Oh, brilliant. I mean, sure, I've got a bunch of them, but I'd really genuinely prefer not to lose my screws. That's quite irritating, in fact. Who knows where that went? I think that's more the problem I have, is like, where did it go? If you disconnect U8900, doesn't that leave your MOSFET gate floating? As far as I know, that's bad. Depends. Depends if it's been actively pulled high or low. Like, some of them will already have the gate's been pulled high or low by default. Let's have a look at the schematics. So we have U8900 and it's driving a two-phase system. And yeah, okay, in this case, yeah, the gates will be left floating, so that would be naughty. For safety, to prevent just random oscillations or switching, typically with gates we either pull them high or low depending on what we want their default state to be. Like in N channels, typically we pull it down low. Anything from like a 10k to 100k, yeah, basically anything to stop this section here just sort of picking up stray noise. Like the trace itself can become an antenna, hell, the leg can become an antenna, and you can get enough build up of charge in here to make it that the gate conducts. And on some of them it can be just enough conduction that it actually it sits around in the resistive zone, and so you can just burn them out. Alright, so we'll have a shot at replacing that mux and see what happens there. Probably nothing, but we're here to learn, I think. Are we? I thought I was here to make money. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm here to make money and you're here to be entertained by my inability to make money. And we switch to microscope view. Hey ZX. Tradie, you've definitely come to the wrong place if you want to learn electronics. I'm definitely not going to teach you anything. Other than maybe what not to do. If you're looking for what not to do, then okay, you're at the right place. Hey Catherine, you gave Lewis that Microsoft 600 keyboard, didn't you? I was looking at that, but then I realised that's a corded keyboard, so suddenly I became a little bit less interested. I see now that you can get wireless mechanical keyboards. I think I'm going to look for one of those. My wife, Elida, has switched over to the Mac, the iMac Magic Mouse and keyboard. You know, the compact ones, and these mucks. These muxes take a lot of heat. There we go. It's not really the chip itself that's taken a lot of heat, it's just the area that it's in is very well thermally, well, it's got a lot of sink there. Jason, does your 600 actually work in wireless mode, or do you mean you have a 600 and someone ripped the cable out? The other thing I'm going to have to be careful of is, even if this works, I'm going to have to test it for quite a while, because it may just be working simply because of maybe the heat I applied on the board. Now you got to test these things when they're dead cold as well. There's plenty of times you can get tricked. You think you fixed a board, you jump up, you celebrate, you run off, you tell the customer, you invoice them, the customer's excited, you're happy, you're dancing together. Thing is, life is great. And then you give the board back, the machine back to the customer, they get it home and it doesn't work. And then the darkness begins. I have a K400 from Logitech, a cheap TV keyboard. Okay, I'll have a look at that one too. I'm looking for something for my gaming setup, because we have the TV and then we've got the PC. Oh, by the way, I'm getting reasonably okay at 7 Days to Die, although I still suck every zombie night. I don't know what I'm doing, but I always forget one little thing, and I'm waiting at my kill window, like, just a little tiny hole that you put in your wall so that the zombies can congregate and you can just like stab and stabby and through the hole. And then all of a sudden I notice they're attacking me, and I'm like, where are you guys attacking me from? And I found out they punched a hole some other way. Something stupid. And it's like, yep, dead again. The only downside is I've noticed that you can't, when they respawn you, they eliminate the zombies, which, okay, that's handy. But they don't send them back at all, so you spend the whole night just twiddling your thumbs, waiting for 4 o'clock to turn up. It'd be nice if they would respawn, where you could press a key to say, okay, I'm ready, respawn again. Respawn the zombies. Alright, so we're going to have to reball this. It's not a huge issue. It's a little bit of a fiddly chip, but it's not the worst. Not even close to being the worst. The zombies can get a little bit intimidating at first. I think, particularly if you're a headphone wearer, and they wig you out with the noise, and especially when they start going feral at a wall or a door, and yeah, it just triggers a innate human response to that sort of noise. They've obviously, decided, okay, let's make some noises like some very angry dogs, wild dogs trying to attack you or something. Yeah, we've got a little alien in there, a little android alien or something. But after a while, you do sort of get used to it, and you're like, just ignore it. Wireless version is the 800. Oh, okay, I'll have a look at that. If you like zombies, try Days Gone. Catherine, for me, getting one game in a year or 2 years is actually pretty good going. So I'm going to have to wear out 7 days for a bit yet. I'm pretty happy with myself. I managed to finally construct the cement mixer and all that sort of stuff. So I'm making headway without relying on the cheat mode or the resources or whatever mode it is, the craft mode. I'm doing it the proper way. Unlike what I'm doing with this chip right now. Oh, for goodness sake, do not wipe parallel to the tips. Right, perpendicular like that. Yes. Honestly. Okay, so what the hell is a dead cockroach? I'm like, that's disgusting. This house is a haven for a great many things that I really wouldn't want people to see. I did buy Days, but then it wasn't until I bought it and went to load it that I realized that it's more of a keyboard and mouse game as opposed to a console style game. And so therefore it's probably going to remain unplayed for quite some time yet. However, I got it on special, like $30 off or something, so that's a win. Okay, actually maybe I do have a proper Mac stencil for this one. Usually with this particular chip I basically just use a standard square grid array stencil and just knock off all the excess ones, of which there is plenty. Oh, look at this! Wow, I've actually got one here. Oh, this is from Fixing Things. This is a stencil. Okay, be interesting. The only trouble is that these stencils are the warpy warp ones. They're not, it's just they're not meant for the sort of heat that I find myself incapable of not doing on a chip. So I'll try and do better. I'll try and be the proper reflower here. Stencil person. Rather than hitting it with like 330 or something. I should really be sitting there at 250 and waiting patiently. Yes, that is the proper way to do it. 250 degrees, whatever. Wait patiently for everything to warm up, and then bam, you're fixed. Or you can do the way I do it, which is take a stencil that can take a beating and beat on it. Hey, Darren Henley. Oh yeah, I mean the creatures are brutal in it. I had a what did I have? A wolf smash through everything last night. Fortunately, I was upstairs in my apartment. I know, it sounds funny. I was upstairs and I could hear the commotion going on. I thought, there's... Well, it's, to be fair, I kind of deserved it because I shot the wolf from a distance. And I was like, yay, but then I didn't... It wasn't a one-shot kill, so I was upset about that. And then it came for me. But because I couldn't get down to it, it started wailing on the walls. And it managed to bust through cobblestone pretty quickly. Because I am on day, I think, 27 or something like that. 29. Let's see. Oh, goodness sake. I'm just checking my options. Chucking me options, mate. Yeah, see, this is kind of like where I would be Mr. Naughty. Yeah. Use that stencil. This is a 3D stencil, direct heat. And so it's got some rigidity. And for this one, actually, I would go to the mid-zone. Can I do... that. Where's the rest of it? Yeah, I would kind of go like that. And then I can really hit on it. I mean, sure, I get a whole bunch of excess ones, but... Oh, okay, we'll try the proper one. And if my lack of skill frustrates me sufficiently, we will try the 3D one. Ah, g'day warrant stamps. Didn't see you sneak in there. Yeah, realistically, I feel like I need, with these sort of stencils, I need to cut the stencil of interest out, mount it separately, and then use it. Because quite frankly, when you get stencils this size, particularly if you... Yeah, they just buckle all weird because this heat takes a while to spread across. Anywho, let's get some quality paste. Stick it on a napkin. Heat it up. Drain its life force. Basically, we're just sort of kind of doing what the dark crystal does. So, great, now it's all jammed up. Fantastic. Now I'm just wrecking my solder tip up, tweezer tips. Oh, you lousy mongrel, you really have jammed up. Alright. Technical difficulties, please stand by. I need to buy another one of those insulin fridges that I have. The good ones, the ones that actually work. Not the ones that die after 6 months. Oh my goodness. It's been fine for a while. Why is it all of a sudden decided to die? Okay, let's just contaminate the hell out of this solder paste by reaming the hard stuff into the squishy stuff. Oh, well, that was... Yep, well, that... Yeah, that's like a medical episode. Alright, now let's do the dark crystal on it. drain its life force. There we go. Drain it out. We will not be drinking the life force of this leaded solder paste. That would result in premature death. At least from my perspective. Some people may feel like it would be appropriately timed, but I think my kitty cats would think it's not. Then again, the little blighters, who knows. This is turning into quite the... Clearly I've used too much there. But that is something you have to get used to when it comes to doing solder paste jobs and whatnot, is that you invariably will always use way too much. Don't panic about it. Don't try and be excessively conservative with it. You'll only make things more difficult for yourself. I mean, I'm not saying use a whole tube. I'm just saying at these tiny amounts, don't try and restrict it down to just what's required for the coverage. It's impractical, basically. Alright, we've got some spare there. And that spare will last a couple of hours before it gets all crusty and unusable. Okay, 250, air 20. So I don't know how it's going to go at 250. We're not going to get perfectly aligned, perfect size between them, but hopefully it's enough that it will work. Just bring that in closer so we don't get a buckling over of the stencil, or bowing over the chip rather. Oh, you look at that. When you do it properly, it actually works. Who would have thought doing it properly would get results? Oh, I might have to reform. Yeah, DeAndre, that is actually the way I normally would used to do it, but I found, I don't know, maybe I ran some really bad stencils, but I would find the stencils would react faster than I could get the heat down. And so as a consequence, I'd be running into all manner of trouble with my stencils. It seems like the worst you can do is to go in between. So neither really quick and fast or neither slow. And so you end up with failure all around. Emotional damage. Failure. See you, Jason. Sorry to see you go, but thanks for being in. Now we just need Jason Vollmer to turn up with one of his crazy, wacky, whatever he's going to do. You never know what that guy's going to come out with on his videos. Sometimes he's entirely normal, other times he's entirely normal for him. It's always a gamble. Bit too much flux there. That's saying the least. Let's put the extractor on. Philly. I can't remember which way pin 1 was. I can't see it under the microscope properly, so I'm just going to have to wipe the top. I mean, I know where pin 1 is on the board view, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, I was right. Hey, Res. Thank you very much for the coffee. Yes, coffee is getting expensive, so I do wait for coffee to be on special down at the supermarket when I buy it in bricks. Sometimes I get caught out. Yeah, I hope I got that reasonably aligned. Guess not. A bit too much flux. I knew there was a bit too much flux. I have found lately that I don't mind the technique of using the one side of the tweezers as a sort of a blocking barrier to stop the chip from blowing back. And I'll hold it there for long enough that it should do that sort of very faint contact weld, or contact solder rather. Okay, we've got some movement there. Geez, I was off by a bit. Anyway, it's floating and going. Check underside, it has a corner. I did see the corner, but yeah. Do you want a full keyboard or a 10 key less one? Oh, Catherine, I'll actually just pick one up. Thank you very much for the offer. But, oh, maybe you're just saying what selection. Whoops, sorry, my misjudgment there. I mean, I've got a bunch of mechanical ones here as well. I keep tossing and turning between whether I'm going to have a full keyboard, you know, 101, etc. for this machine, or whether I'm going to just go I've got a compact 84 at the moment, which I'm pretty happy with. Most of the time I don't miss the numpad. Yeah, this is the one I have at the moment. This is the IKBC. What the hell? I just lost all my screens. I didn't know if I'm still alive. I don't know if I'm still broadcasting. Ah. Wow, that was weird. I need to change my screens. Anyway, yeah, so this is my IKBC. This is a cherry blue. Like I say, it's not really a buckling spring replacement. If you've used a buckling spring for many years, wow, my screens are crapping out. Something's going on here. I don't know what. Yeah, the three screens I've got around me, they're just blanking out on me. I'm not sure why. It's something to do with... Oh. Yeah, it's because this cable came loose. Who would have thought that a power cable would be so essential? Hang on, let me just see if I can get I've got to twist my tongue to get it in right. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, wrong. Doing it wrong, Paul. Give it up. But I've got it the right way. Aha. Yeah. Air gap limitations. Okay, that's better. Alright then. Yeah, so this is my mechanical IKBC. It's tolerable as a mechanical keyboard, but yeah, like I said, it's still no substitute for a buckling spring. There is just a certain feel about the buckling spring. It may not necessarily be technically superior. I don't know what studies have been done, but in terms of feel, you can certainly still tell the difference. But for me to get a buckling spring, a new one from what do they call themselves? Keycomp or something like that. Compsys. The keyboards are not expensive. The freight's the killer. Yeah. Anyway, put that away. We've got our replacement muxed machine. We actually don't need to even put this back into the board. We can test it just simply by stick MRI in, magnetic resonance imaging, which it is not. I mean, that is, MRI stands for Mac Resource Inspector, not medical MRI. Okay, 99.9% sure it goes that direction. 99.9. Let me go double check. Yes, that is correct. For some reason, the Thunderbolt ports on these boards are not keyed. So I don't know whether that means you can actually legitimately insert it either way and it will work, or whether it means it's going to go bang. MRI is more of a specific ASD. It's a more constrained test set. Not liking the look of this. We've got to give it a minute though. Come on. If this fails, then yeah, I really am not sure, because like I said, I'm fairly sure the internal GPU is what handles the initial screen. So if we're not getting the initial screen, that would tend to infer that the internal GPU is cactus. I don't know, yeah. You tell me, what do you believe is happening on the 333 when it boots? Does it boot with the discrete GPU? And the internal GPU only comes into play when it's actually booted to the OS in a non-graphics form? Or is it the internal GPU? Why has nobody been complaining about the echo? Audio should be much better now. I just realized that this camera was reporting audio into the stream as well. Pretty sure it boots with discrete GPU. There's a video by Vlad with the corrupted boot screen. Oh, okay. Alright then. Okay, well look, I am going to replace U8900. That's not something I would normally do. But I'm going to replace U8900 to see what happens. If that doesn't work, then we can look at bypass options. Although, to be honest, it's getting to the point where, yeah, not the ideal. Okay, so the reason why we generally say just rework the chip is in, redo the solder, because that's where the chip is, and then you can see where it is relative to the GPU. So what happens is people go along, they reflow that chip, and they butcher the GPU indirectly. Yes, the cute little monitor, it's Jim sent that to me, Jim Hook, quite some time ago now. And I actually got another one as well. I liked them that much. Oh, thank you, DeAndre. Yeah, the crackly speaker on this one was just due to physical defect of the speaker, not due to an electronic issue. Yes. I'm just shielding that a little bit. It's not going to do a huge amount. I hate melting that plastic on the back, but it happens. A few sleeps ago. Just a few, yeah, Jim. Just a few. Okay, so I don't want to heat this too much. We're going to be doing our best to get it removed fairly quickly. Now, the fact that we've got leaded solder for the connections currently does help a little bit, but the real trick point here is the fact that the inner pad is the one that's going to stick, and that's the one that we're going to get up to temperature, and it is of course leaded solder. Lead-free solder. So we're just going to, kind of like with iPhones, just going to have to put a little bit of upward pressure on this. Get a bit of a twisty. Not much, you don't want to truck it up. Man, this sucker is... There we go. It goes from not letting go to letting go very quickly. Fortunately, when we put it back down, it's not going to be as difficult. Yeah, Miles, those USB screens are ridiculously expensive for what they basically are. I guess it's the novelty of them. We are going to pick up a fair bit of that solder in the mid pad. Well, it doesn't hurt too much to have a little bit. That's a bit excessive. That's down about how you want it. There's just enough there so that it fills in the gap, but not so much that it floats the chip unevenly. Some people are really good at starting out with a lot of solder there and squeezing it down and out. I know Lewis does a spectacularly good job at that. I've never really developed that talent. I've tried a few times, and in the end I just thought, you know what, it's easier for me to just start out with basically no minimal amount of solder required and go from there. So you sort of got to work out what works for you. Creature, what are you not supposed to do? You're talking about the blob and push? The squeeze out? You saying that because basically it messes up with the design float gap and creates undue stresses? I'm going to guess that's what you're going to say. That one's been replaced. Squeezing gives you heart attacks. Creates potential shorts as well. I guess if you do see Lewis do it, what you'll also see him do is he'll reflux it and then he'll reflow it again. So he's squeezing out the excess and then he reflows it and then gives it a tap sometimes to eliminate the short risk. I mean, it's still possible to develop a short, but probably quite a bit less. See how I'm doing the whole back of the tweezer thing here? And once it's sort of grabbed, then I can I forgot to put my... No, I've ruined it now. Ruined now. Oh well. Particularly for these QFNs, they really... I know they're supposed to float and align themselves. But geez, they can be a pain when you're using hot air to do that. It's not so bad if you've got the... Yeah, so that's not yet up to temperature. May not have enough solder on that. That's definitely fractionally off. But you see, this is the danger zone. Now I can't go keep adding more heat to that. Hey Steve K. Oh yeah, you missed heaps. You missed your name being called out as the lottery winner. It's all over, Steve. It's all over. I gotta say, it's no fun doing these chips with a larger tip. Even the JSO2 can be a bit of a fun time every now and then. That chip is definitely misaligned slightly. You can tell on the bottom row it's pulling a little to the left, and on the side, right side, it's pulling a little down. But it's within tolerance, my tolerance. Yeah. It's one of these cases where if you try to mess with it, you're probably going to make it worse. In this particular instance, I would say I didn't leave enough solder on that center pad because it wasn't able to, when the center melted, it wasn't able to, find its center. So I actually didn't put enough in there. That's why we have rather precise cough stencil application of solder paste. I say cough because when I used to manufacture things, it wasn't quite so, precise. What I would usually do is I would cut a stencil based on what I think would be enough paste, and if I kept having problems with a particular chip, I would adjust the size of the paste holes, where the paste can go in from the stencil. I would adjust that accordingly. Like if they kept being needing to be reworked for not enough solder, you'd open it up a little more. If too much solder, too bridging and stuff like that, you'd shrink them down a little more. Alright, so here we go again. Okay, so at least it's still generating the signal to make the screen switch. Sooner or later I'm going to have to actually get the multimeter out and test that voltage. Travis, you're making me try and read stuff while I'm on a live stream. Jeez. Yeah. Does not look good. Travis, that's a very interesting contraption. Backlit version of ReArcade 707 3-in-1 multifunctional 2.4 GHz wireless portable game controller, 62 key rechargeable keyboard, mouse combo, turbo vibration function for PC, Raspberry Pi, Toy, Android, TV, Google. $32. Oh, jeez, it's cheap as chips. Alright, that's wah wah wah, as Dave Jones would say. We'll plug it into the display and see if it does anything different, but I think we're looking at a dead GPU situation here. It's not that common with the 3332, but we may, it seems, have that situation on our hands, which is very sad. But on the upside, I do have 3332 boards, so I can still offer this person an option to, you know, keep the machine. Just with a new board. And this being a, what was this? This is an 8 gig one. Yeah, 2.68 gig. Yeah, that may be the better way to go. DeAndre, yeah, email me the bypass for laughs. I won't do it for this particular person. As in, I won't do it for their machine. Like, if they decide they want to go for a board swap, then the old board, no, for laughs, we'll have a shot at it. Because honestly, and I don't mean this in a mean way or anything like that, when it comes to, like, if I say to the person, look, I can do a bypass and you will only be able to use the screen built in, are you going to be fine with that? And at the time, they will be very adamant that that is no problem whatsoever. They're more than happy to deal with that compromise. Let's just do it. At the time, they genuinely, they're being honest, they really would be happy. But the trouble is, once they get it back, and then the first time that they realize, oh, you know, I really want the external screen, then the negative sentiment's going to start brewing. Not in a malicious bad way, but it's just going to be there, and they're going to be like, yeah, I should have gone for the spare board or something like that. Like that. That ain't, you know, it's just human nature. Isn't that taking the easy way out? I guess it depends what you mean by easy, but yeah, it is. And I'm more than happy to do that. Interesting, I'm not getting a bong. Or maybe the bong comes out of different, only one speaker, the one that I didn't plug in. Yeah, because we got backlight and everything here. So the data is not being transmitted. What we'll do, just as a check, I mean, it's 99% likely it's the board, but we will plug in a test board just to see and prove that it is in fact this board that is the problem. Yeah, that's right, Mouse. Like I said, it's not, they're not being Karens, or I don't know, what's the male version of a Karen? Anyway, or what's the non-gender specific version of a Karen? Either way, they're not being one of those, they're just simply finding that they're having a little bit of remorse on their compromise, and I get it. Oh, crikey, mate. Where's my 3332s, eh? Oh, blimey. Are you a 3332, mate? Are ya? Or you're not? Mal Karen is Dave. I don't think Mr. Jones would be too approving of that. Let's see, is this you over here? kind of look like you're a 3332 and you know it. Yes, although this one looks like it's been through the wars. Let me just go check in my other workshop. Let's see if I've got a 3332 that does not look like it has been through a few wars. I'm fairly sure I had one that was... I mean, it could be that one. Dum, dum, dum. Let's see, 165, 165, 165, 3115. Why do I hold on to that crap? 164, 165. No. You're all failures. Nope, nope. Nope. Oh, yep. Dirty old 1502s. Somebody has way too much crap. Alright, maybe it is that board. I just could have sworn I had a board that I had written 3332 on. Alright, I've got this now. That's a V-Reg board, so that's definitely not a 3332. Because we don't do the V-Regs on a 3332. Or they don't have that failure situation. Alright, so we're going to try this one. Or was it that one? Okay, no, that's the one we replaced the mux on. Yep, okay. Kind of curious what this one is. As in what its spec is. No, there's nothing actually wrong with the 1502s other than the fact that I was after a 3332 at the time and I didn't have one, so... this is a 2.48, so it's a little bit of a step down. A whole 200 megahertz. Hopefully that doesn't pain them too much. But we'll see, we have to actually find out if it works first. Otherwise they may just simply go, you know what, as long as we can get the data off, which they should be able to, that their drive should be intact. They may go, yeah, as long as we get the data off, we'll be happy. We'll just move to a new machine. And as much as I am into extending the life of these machines as much as I can, at some point it does become, yeah, a little bit... Sometimes you just got to let these things go. Put it on eBay, let someone else get the screen. Something like that. So we'll see how we go. I mean, this is in such good condition. Impressively good condition, really. And I'm excessively connecting the cables here that I do not need to. It'd be more funny if... There we go, see. That one's fine. So yeah, I might, I'll clean this board up, because it was one that I fixed up the other night, I'm pretty sure of it. .4 is E 2013, early 2013, 2.6 is late 2012, but they're both 3332s. And I thought the 3332 was essentially a 2012 board only. And then in 2013 they went to things like the 3437 or something like that. Correct me on that, I really don't know, so just feel free to advise. I'm not really one for remembering all the fine details about these boards. Other than that one lets out the smoke, that one needs a hit over the head. Okay, both 3332. Well, I guess we'll actually be able to prove your statement, won't we? Because we'll be able to go into here and pull up the About This Mac. And you'll be exonerated. About This Mac. And let's see, Mr. Furman is correct. Once it actually gets there, and well, what do you know? The good sir is in fact correct. This is indeed an early 2013 2.7 i7. Ooh, that is a jump up a bit. 8 gigs. Okay, so I think board swap it is. This one will go in for the wash. And this is why I do buy the batches of boards that I get from various suppliers that have been replaced by Apple replacements, and then I refurbish them so that we can further refurbish other people's boards. So yep, this looks like it'll be a board replacement. What about the celery number? That's a good question. I think that in this case I might, yeah, I'll have to find, because if I change the serial number on this, I don't know whether these details are derived based on that serial number or whether it derives it internally and says to the CPU what's your spec and things like that. If it was a model for model replacement, then I would change the serial numbers, but because the models are slightly different, I probably won't. That's basically my philosophy. So if, say, I have a 165 8 gigs 1.8 and I'm swapping it with an 8 gigs 1.8, then I will move the serial numbers across. But if they're a different board, like a 1.64, or not that I'd go backwards like that, but say I did, then I would not change the serial numbers. It shows the spec from the CPU itself. Thank you, Harold. Good to know that. Well, there you go. In that case, that is my a further reinforcement to my justification for not migrating serial numbers across different spec boards. About the only time I have done that is when I upgraded that 1.64 gig 165 to an 8 gig 1.6 165, and then I migrated the serial number on that. But yeah, not in this particular case. Alright then, well listen, it's closing on midnight and I am trying to be a better person. Cough, cough, cough. I am trying to be a better person and try and take time out at the end of my day and not work until the point where I'm literally just, my eyes are shutting down, and where I basically finish the work on the live stream here and then I have a shower and crash. I'm trying to do better than that. I'm trying to be more responsible with myself, which is kind of funny coming from a near 50 person, but yeah, I want to try and minimize possible health issues that come from poor sleep. So what I'm going to do is have my shower, go eat something, and play 7 Days to Die till 4:30 in the morning. Alright, listen, you all have a good night or good day. Best of luck with your first day back if you are from a culture that has had the Easter holiday or any other holiday for that matter. That's the first day done for me. I suspect tomorrow I'm going to wake up to a bunch more computers needing repairing coming in the mail. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all on the next video. Until then, you take care. I'll catch you later.